nostalgia. It's a thing. And it can really carry humdrum, bland products and make them seem like they will perhaps, possibly, somehow, have some spark of the game or product you once enjoyed. But they don't. Invariably, anyone making a product that is calling on nostalgia, taking something that has come before and remaking or reimagining it, will fall into the trap that waits for them. Basically, if you change too much, those fans who enjoyed the previous product will be incensed that you dared to change their beloved game or movie or whatever. If you change nothing, you're just remaking the same game or movie or whatever, which the customer has played already, has watched already, and then they'll be incensed because it's exactly the same it's exactly the same product, it's exactly the same thing, and it feels old and played out. 2 Point Hospital feels mostly like the former. While playing it, I did see glimmers of promise in some of the announcements coming out from the loudspeakers and a couple of the illnesses presented to you. However, the vast meat of the game feels like a lackluster, lazy attempt to update a game and basically failing. I feel little inspiration or original thought coming from 2 Point Hospital. Like a bunch of people who hadn't grown up with Theme Hospital played the game for a couple of hours to get a vague idea of what it was, and then made this. The look and feel of the game's generic and boring. Patients, staff, they have no individuality. They wander the hospital, and even while looking closely at them, I have no idea who they are, what they're doing, or why I should care. I've become kind of an unfeeling, uncaring entity looking down on the walking wallets, waiting for them to wander through the process of being diagnosed, treated, and then booted. The graphics really don't help, but also the speed of the game, the way that it has the patients go through in maybe 30 seconds a minute, and jumping from hospital to hospital all adds to this feeling. The first generic improvement I can suggest for this game is pretty simple. Make the people less Lego-y and either more cartoony or more realistic. The people in this game all look the same, and with, for example, the lycanthropy illness being a specific pain for me. You'd expect a hairy wolfman running around the hospital, but no. You get a person looking like all the other people who blandly gets diagnosed, goes to a quick therapy or to the pill dispenser, and then leaves. Even the visibly different patients are a bit of a letdown. You have a man with a light bulb head, get the light bulb unscrewed, and then his head is quickly crafted and put on him, and then he leaves. There's a clown. There are clown patients who get defunnied, and that's alright. It's not particularly fascinating, but you know, I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then I've seen it once, and I'm good. I don't need to see it again. I don't go to see the patients being treated or anything like that. I just wander around the hospital waiting for something to happen. So this means the game can't rely on being funny or interesting. It's got to rely on its gameplay instead. And the gameplay skates by with very little to have you stop and enjoy it. The game is mostly too easy, with the difficulty coming from increased patient volume coming in. It just scales the volume of patients as you progress, to the point where after you've achieved a 3-star hospital, which completes that mission, that hospital you've been working on, you end up getting flooded with patients till you get sick of it and move on to the next mission. And some of the aspects don't even make sense. You get a large quantity of decorative items, posters and plants and things like that to unlock and put around your hospital. They all have generic bonuses: improve a room's prestige, increase diagnosis by 1%. But they all do similar things for a small difference in money, which leads to a similar fuck it attitude the devs must have been feeling on this game. You select an item, spam it around the hospital, and job done. There's no need to care, because within 30 minutes, you'll be on to the next hospital without looking back. So, there are two ways, I feel, to make this game so it wasn't a generic, bland, nostalgic spurt that leaves you feeling empty and sad. And let's go through them both. The first way, I think, would be to embrace the hospital kind of theme of the game. You make the graphics more realistic, you keep the player to one hospital, they slowly build and manage. Give the doctors more personality and quirks and customization. Make them really feel like part of your hospital and make you care about them. Give them emotions and relationships and drama. You know, turn it into ER. You'll need to manage the doctors, bring them up on charges for misdiagnosing and being drunk. They date, they hate, they argue, they have their own lives in the hospital. Slow the game down. Have patients come in, get diagnosed, and go to get treated, sure. But have others that you can't diagnose, and it's not something you get punished for. It's something that kind of expands the gameplay. It means you have to research them, you have to get to know them. For example, psychiatry patients will keep coming back for more appointments. You manage their treatment, you change things up, you administer them just different doses of medication to see if it helps or makes them worse. And you have to learn the patients and who they are so that you can help them. People with a disease either stay in the hospital or keep coming back and develop relationships with certain doctors so that they'll want to see their doctor. And you can see those relationships and, you know, and you can play with that there. Have a board of directors who get in the doctor's way, who are only worried about money, and therefore you as a player, as this kind of god looking down on the hospital, can side with one or the other and can either really feel like you want to help the patients or feel like you want to, feel like you really want to have the hospital help people and you dedicate yourself to healing people, or anywhere in between. Patients who can sue a certain doctor, and then you can stand behind that doctor or choose not to support them and to blame them and fire them. The possibilities, once you consider this angle, I actually consider to be really fascinating and could make a really interesting game. The other way to go when making this game would have been to embrace the wackiness, the cartoony silliness that was the original Theme Hospital, but take it further. Make the graphics more cartoony, make the patients and the doctors feel more unique, more silly, make it very ridiculous, make the illnesses more unique, and give the doctors and patients the personality needed to set them apart from each other. For example, with the werewolf, have the werewolf be a werewolf, and you have to engage security to keep him locked up over the full moon, study him to figure out a cure, and then administer it. Maybe it goes wrong, and he turns into an even worse kind of monster. The light bulb head guy can come in complaining of a headache. You have him studied and realize that he's got the wrong wattage in his head. You know, his light bulb is the wrong wattage, and you cure it by giving him the right bulb. The clowns who come in could just be unfunny, and you have to call in your hospital clown to give them lessons. You have to kind of improve your hospital clown. You know, that's another idea right there that just came to me. You can have a hospital clown, and he can run around and make people happier. And he has a personality, and he has, you know, everything like that. Imagination was really needed to explore the ideas possible in this game. And either they rushed it out, or the imagination just wasn't there to begin with. And again, with this possibility, with this way to go, I'd say slow down the process of a patient's life in the hospital, from diagnosis to being cured in the game without cues to get diagnosed and to get treated. As I said, it takes about 30 seconds to a minute, and then that patient is gone and never comes back. Also, if you reduce the volume of patients, increase the time patients spend in the hospital and give people a chance to actually enjoy running a hospital, this game could have been a great improvement or follow-on from Theme Hospital. As it is, it's just Theme Hospital with barely improved graphics, bland and generic gameplay upgrades, and thoughtless fluff added in that almost feels on the level of mobile phone game for decorations and add-ons to your hospital. All of this leaves you feeling that this game was designed specifically to capture the look and feel of Theme Hospital without spending much money or putting in much effort. It's not Dungeon Keeper mobile game levels of fuck you to the fans, but that still doesn't excuse it one bit. At the end of the day, this video is going to probably be shorter than the previous videos I've done on Let Me Fix Your Fucking Game, because it's just Theme Hospital with a few changes, with a few updates. You know, it really isn't something that I can go super in depth with, because there's not too much of the game to suggest improvements to. Theme Hospital was already a good game. It was already out 20 plus years ago, and I played it and enjoyed it. Playing this game is not very different. I didn't enjoy it. I've played Theme Hospital. The best thing to do was to take the idea and really expand it and really put work into it, but that just didn't happen. So, you know, these two ideas is the best I can do, which completely change the game and take it mostly away from Theme Hospital. But it's the best thing you can do instead of relying on the look, on replicating the look and feeling of a game that's over 20 years old. So, I'll leave you with this final thought in regards to nostalgia remakes and reboots in gaming. It is entirely possible to take a classic game, come up with new ideas, improve on the original, and create something wonderful. But what's the point when we will blindly pre-order Theme Hospital 2 bland shit? When you can half-ass a game purely by making things seem like a classic game and then making fucking bank off nostalgia, there's no incentive to work harder and spend more money to make things better. It is unfortunate that this is the current trend, and this is something that I don't see going away for a while, because as more and more money comes into gaming, as more money can be made in gaming, it's a lot easier to take something already successful with good name recognition and just basically make that than it is to come up with something interesting that's unique. And you know, you have to spend time on that, and currently the best way to make money in the gaming industry is to just churn out as many games as possible and optimize the ways to make money off it. So, Theme Hospital 2 didn't really capture me. The nostalgia just wasn't there for me, I guess. I saw too many problems. But I think there is an opportunity here with all this nostalgia. I think, seeing as profiting off nostalgia is such a trend nowadays, maybe I should get in on that action. Screw it. Maybe I'll become a critic of nostalgia games. I can call myself the Nostalgia Critic. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that has no negative connotations to it.